It's been a while. Welcome to Gaijin Gaming, and for this episode, I am going to be talking about Rudra no Hiho, or Treasure of Rudra. And this game came out for the Super Famicom. It came out for the Super Famicom in 1996, and it was made by Squaresoft. So, yeah, it was definitely one of the last games to come out for the system, and some of the video that I'll show, you might be kind of, hopefully it'll come through okay, but you might be a bit impressed by it. I don't know, like, to me, it almost seems like it could have been an very early PS1 game. And something really cool that came with the game when I got it was the world map. Hey! And then, also on the back, it has something for you to kind of categorize the magic spells. Now, this game is an RPG, and I'll get to the magic stuff in a few moments. And the main flavor for the game, I guess, for lack of a better word, or the kind of like central theme, is it's incorporating a lot of different Indian religions. Central, or like the most specific thing being the Wheel of Time concept. And in this case, every 4,000 years, there is a new species that takes over, and the older species kind of goes away. And this game takes place over three different scenarios and the last 15 days of the human race. So you play through these three different scenarios, and you try to kind of uncover the secrets of the game. I'll leave it at that. Some really high, like, it's a very standard game in the sense of the battle system. It's not like it's not really high and above, but I'll get into some of that with some of the video that I'll show, that I cut to for the game and stuff. But there are two main really high points, and one I'll discuss later, and the other one actually will be coming up in bits that I show of the game. The first being is that the magic in the game is actually you make it yourself, and I'll get into that a bit more with the video here. And then the second thing is actually the music. Music is fantastic. The story is really good too. Really interesting thing about the story is that it's broken up into three different scenarios. So where one scenario is kind of a standard RPG fanfare game, the other two scenarios are actually really different, and they're kind of cool to go over and stuff. And also, you learn, I can just say it, but these three different scenarios are written by three different people, so you get different ideas and different ideas. Keep on repeating that. You get different things going with different people, and it's nice to see how the stories intersect with one another and how they affect each other. So, with that being said, please enjoy some of the video and whatnot, and I'll catch you on the other side. Now here's the menu screen. You access it really easily by pressing the X button. You see your party's off to the right, and at the bottom of the screen it tells you how many days you've gone through so far, and it also has your money right above that. And then you have your options off to the left side. You have your items, your spells, your spell creations, your equipment, very important items, your status, and your configuration. Now if you go to your status, you click on it, you click on your party member, and it gives your HP, your MP, what level you are, how much experience you need to your next level, and then it also gives your physical defense, magical attack, and it just your standard RPG fanfare stuff. At the bottom, however, is something a little different. That's actually kind of that's not really that different, but it's something a little different. So here you have to the bottom left, you have three sets of pairs. It's on both sides. It's the same pair set, which is fire and water, lightning and wind, and light and dark. Now, with these different pairings, for example, in the bottom left is your attack. So if you have a weapon that's water-based and you're fighting a fire-based enemy, you'll do more damage. And if the enemy is water-based and you're water-based, your weapon is water-based, you won't do as much damage. damage, and so that's what that is. And the same goes for your defense. If you have armor that is wind, and yeah, let's go with wind. Let's say you have armor that's wind resistant, and you get attacked by an enemy that has lightning. They'll if they cast lightning spells, they'll do more damage to you. So you kind of have to pick and choose what armor you have, and be careful, because especially later on in the game, because you'll get to parts where bosses have certain attributes that will just train wreck you if you are wearing the inappropriate armor. It's really frustrating if you aren't prepared for it. So unless you play with a guide or something, be prepared to lose a few times, especially against bosses, because you'll get to certain bosses and then you'll just get train wrecked. Because you can't really prepare for those kind of things, because you won't really know what the bosses are going to throw at you until you get there. So, in one hand, I kind of like that, because, you know, you can't just train wreck through things, but on the other hand, it can be kind of frustrating. However, the dungeons are really, really quick in the game, so if you do get beat, usually there's a save point right before, or if not, it's really quick to get through the dungeons, so really, really nice. Now, let me go to probably the coolest aspect of this game, and here's the spell creation list. And there's, at the beginning of the game, you're already given a couple spells, and the first two are fire spells. The first one is a fire spell to one person, and then the second one is a fire spell to, all the enemies, and then you have a healing spell. Now, you can, throughout the game, and throughout all three different scenarios, you get different, you go to open chests that will give you hints for different prefixes and suffixes to use, as well as going to the bar. And when you go to bars in all the towns and stuff, the bartenders will give you different combinations to use, and depending on which ones you use, they will strengthen your spells, but they'll also increase the MP usage needed for those spells. So you have to juggle it and find a nice balance. Now, in the Japanese version, there's only 6 different tiles that you can use. However, or characters, excuse me. However, in the English ROM translation, I believe there's 14, 12, 14. There's a lot more. So you can mess around and make your own kind of spells too. And for example, let's say you want to make a healing spell, so you put in heal, and it'll actually make a healing spell. Now this isn't always the case. You can make a, let's say, I don't know. Let's be joking around. You want to make chicken spell. And so this one here is more of a earth attack. So you can kind of mess around and make your own things, and even for joking matters, you can make some funny ones, like, oh, I want to make a penis spell, hurt. So you make a penis spell. And as you can tell, depending on what you use, it might increase the MP a lot. And in later parts of the game, you need to conserve your MP, especially for a lot of later boss battles and stuff. So, a really quick look at that. As also, for your items, you can only hold a max of 9 per item, so you can't just stack or hoard a whole bunch of items and just pray to get through the game that way. So you do have to be a bit more conservative, which I actually kind of like, because it adds a little bit more strategy to it. Just a really quick thing on fighting. Fighting is pretty basic Super Famicom kind of fighting. The really cool thing, however, here you have your fighting, your spells, items, defense, and also if you press left or right, you have an option to try to run away. Something really interesting you can do is just press Y button to go from the front to the background. However, something else to bring to your attention is if you press the X button, you have this little thing over off to the bottom right. party. So if you have somebody who's really, really fast, they're usually going first, or whoever's the fastest you usually have first. However, you can set it however you want to. So if somebody, for example, Foxy here, she's a little bit slower for the time being than Seal. And so if you have her going first, he'll more than likely go right after her. However, if the enemies are faster than her, the enemies will go first, even if Shion is faster than the enemies. So you gotta kind of mix it up a little bit and stuff, and it's a good way of kind of implying a little bit of strategy to the game. Really simple fanfare you go through, and especially right at the beginning of the game, kill, kill, shebang. He wins. Really quick. The music in the game is really, really good, and I don't know if you've been able to tell, but maybe if you're a fan of the Super Nintendo, Super Famicom era games, you might have heard something from this person. His style is very, very similar, and I don't know if you can tell, but does it sound like music from Final Fantasy Mystic Quest? Have you played that game? Well, there's a reason why. Because it's the same composer. Sasai Ryuji, he composed the music for Rudra no Hiho. And he does a really, really, really good job. I'm going to play some of the boss themes, and for each scenario there's a different boss theme. And not only are they boss themes, but he kind of changes them so that they also work as overworld themes. So really, really good. Love the boss themes. The boss themes are absolutely awesome, especially for like a Super Famicom game. So if you are a big fan of the Final Fantasy Mystic Quest music, you'll probably really, really like the music for this game. Just really briefly are inns in the game, and how inns work. You just kind of go in, and then it's kind of like drinking water from the fountain or something, and then healing real quick. It doesn't change the days and stuff. So certain events have to happen before the changing, the passing of the day. And I know to some that might not seem as kind of cool as it could have been and stuff, but if you didn't do that, you might be a bit SOL with things. So yeah, with that being said, I really, 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 really like this game. It even has its own little ending that the ending is not what I expected. It's a little bit different than what I thought it would be. So it's really enjoyable. It took me a while to get through the game. Unfortunately, there's not a timer, and I know some people really like to have timers in the game. It's kind of nice for me too, so I can tell how much time I put in. But I would say probably I put about 40 or so hours into the game. However, I would say if you can somehow get an emulator of some, because unless you know Japanese and you can import it to play it and whatnot, because if you're a really big fan of Super Famicom or the 16-bit era kind of RPGs and stuff, and you have not played this game, you're really missing out on a really fun and different kind of game. Not only because of the story and how it's more the influences of the different Indian religions and whatnot, but also just the music and just the adventure in itself. It's a different story to it. So really, really cool. Really enjoy it. Serlin's a badass. He's he's one of the three characters. So, yeah, I try not to tell too much because I don't want to spoil things. Because you should definitely check it out. But with that being said, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little bit of a, I guess, kind of, hopefully a step towards trying the game out and whatnot. So, yeah, that's it for me, and Rudra no Hihon, the treasure of Rudra. So, yeah, have a good day.